Is this a church?
Pesan Mosab Hasan Yousef, sang anak pendiri Hamas, untuk gereja.
But I guess we are at war. And this is what happens during war. And I hope that we are not driven by fear. Also, I hope that we are not driven by anger. Because the other side is driven by revenge and hatred. I hope that we are driven by justice and by the power of love. Such a difficult time. And I'm trying to stay calm. But it's not easy. It's not easy because it's a responsibility, especially for a person like myself. I have lived so many sides of this conflict. I was born in Islam, like many of you know. For those who don't, I was born for a Muslim family. You can say that I came through them, definitely not from them. And I love my parents. I honor my parents, and I will honor them until the last day, until the last breath, regardless where they stand or what they do. As they said, my father is one of the founders of Hamas, and he's still one of their leaders. How could I say yes to a suicide bomber going into a university, bus, market, beach, blowing himself up and killing all type of people? Muslims, Christians, Americans, Jews, Israelis, all type of people died in suicide bombing attacks. I did not see that this could be from God. Hamas is not to this side of truth. Anybody can argue, say, this is not the side of truth, but I prefer to be here. I don't want to be on the other side. And I will actually resist the other side that is lustful for territory, for power, to dominate, to kill my land. It's not your land. It's no one's land. It belongs to the divine. This is why tonight I accept to speak to a church. This is the first time actually in many years I speak to a church. Because as I study history, and especially the history of the Holocaust, the Nazis infiltrated, they did not infiltrate the government at the beginning. They they started infiltrating the church. This is where they started their movement. And once they took over the church, it became possible for them to do whatever they did later. This is a fact. So today when I look at the United States, and I know that the church, regardless of many different denominations, many different point of views, and there is so much talk, but I'm not seeing action. And there is lots of talk about truth, but I am not seeing the truth. So the time has come, in my opinion, for the church to rise. And I tell you why. Hence, The role of the church, especially in the United States, is significant at this stage of this conflict. We have a very deadly enemy. They're very dangerous. They're brutal. And they're out for destruction. In order to eradicate them, there is going to be more destruction. And I know it's very hard, because sometimes there is no way to achieve peace but through the use of force. Of course, we don't want the use of force to be the first option, not the second option. It's always the last option, the last resort. And of course, anybody can claim to say, I have no other option, I have to use the force. But now, I tell you that we are left with no other option but to stop this enemy. And if we don't counter them, they will become more aggressive. They will misunderstand our tolerance. And they will think that we are weak. Like this war, Israel did not start. Israel was at the most religious holiday. And they took advantage of that. Killing so many innocent people. Not only Israelis, Thai workers, American citizens, people partying. Only Hamas could do that. Israel in the Middle East represents order. It's not a perfect country. Hamas represents chaos. If I had to choose between imperfect country, political entity, or chaos, for myself, for my neighbor, for my friends, for my children, I choose a place where there is order. Not a place where there is absolute control of power, driven by hatred and human delusion. Hence, we say no to Hamas. That's not an option. Has nothing to do, that this is Christian, this is Jewish versus Muslim. Even though Hamas is rooted in Islam.
Bebaskan Sandra sekarang. Salam damai dari Fakta Israel.